President Donald Trump might be getting on the bad side of some Cameroonians as he has announced that he will be ending the TPS, that's the Temporary Protection Services, for Cameroonians in this coming June, as well as for Afghans in this coming May. So today's episode, we're going to be looking into what this means for Cameroonians, the Cameroonians involved, and is this a bad decision on his part? This is the Reporter. I'm your host, Doris. But before getting to the video, make sure to like and subscribe to the Next Generation Media channel so you don't get to miss out on any of our subsequent videos. So for those who might not know what a TPS is, Temporary Protection Service is when you go to a country, somehow flee to a country because of certain insecurities you face in the country you fled from. And for example, if you go to America, you arrive there and they're like, okay, we are not going to deport you back. You can stay here for as long as that insecurity still exists, and we're going to give you a work permit so you can work in our country. But this is a temporary arrangement because the government can at any point uplift this and you have to be deported back to your country. So that is the what Donald Trump is planning on uplifting for Cameroonians and Afghans, to deport those who are on under this protection to be sent back to their countries. And we have this article from BBC titled "Trump to End Protected Status for Afghans and Cameroonians." It further reads, thousands of Afghans and Cameroonians will have their temporary deportation protections terminated, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the DHS, has said. Homeland Security Secretary Christine Noem found the conditions in Afghanistan and Cameroon no longer merited U.S. protections, according to a statement from DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin. An estimated 14,600 Afghans previously eligible for temporary protected status, that's the TPS, are now set to lose it in May, while some 7,900 Cameroonians will lose it in June. TPS is granted to nationals of designated countries facing conditions such as armed conflicts or environmental disasters, which makes it unsafe for them to return home. The status typically lasts for up to 18 months, can be renewed by the incumbent Homeland Security Secretary, and offers deportation protection and access to work permits. Noem's decision comes the same day a U.S. judge ruled that the Trump administration could deport a university graduate who was detained last month over his role in pro-Palestine protests. But this is what is Cameroonians should look up to in the coming June. We might have 7,900 Cameroonians returning home because the TPS has been lifted. And we had a Cameroon news agency that made a post on Facebook saying Cameroonians in the US were granted TPS thanks to President Biden, but once they had their TPS, the same Cameroonians, or at least most of them, started insulting Biden and his party, questioning why Biden supports gay rights, etc. However, singing praises for Trump has not made Trump love them. So we had certain comments under that post. We have a picture of the Cameroonians there seeking, somehow protesting for the TPS to be prolonged, for them not to be sent back home. And we had comments under that post such as, the reporter is just being emotional. Neither Biden or Trump even noticed their support. Besides, TPS was not cancelled only for Cameroonians. And that is true. Cameroonians are not the only people that have been deported. We have also the Afghans that have deported even at an earlier date than the Cameroonians. We also have this comment that says, when we're telling them on comment section during campaign that they are feeding a snake that will bite them one day, they were all insulting us. So many people are saying with the way Cameroonians supported Donald Trump, he has somehow betrayed all the trust they put in him by coming against Cameroonians or attacking Cameroonians by deporting those who were on TPS. So I guess Cameroonians feel a little bit betrayed by Trump, but we'll look more into whether that is actually what you should be thinking about at this point in time. We also had this comment that says, please, I want us to understand that there is a difference between the TPS and asylum. So most of the Southern Cameroonians who took asylum are not concerned, but Cameroonians who go for TPS are those going in for that. And this comment, I believe, was one of the most sensible comments I read throughout here. There's a difference between seeking asylum in the country and being given TPS by the government of a country. TPS, just the name, is temporary. It's a temporary protective service. And I think, yeah, you have to judge whether we are going to end it based on, is that country safe enough for them to return to that country? Seeking asylum is a permanent thing. You go there, you say because of life-threatening situations here, you can never return to this country, and they keep you in the country, become a citizen, you get the work permit. Yeah, but it's a bit different from, actually very different from TPS, because TPS is very temporary. So those who are Cameroonians who are seeking asylum in the US, obviously are not going to get affected by this. They are going to maintain their stay in the US. But those who have the TPS are those who might get deported this coming June. We also have this comment that says Trump's policies might not favor most African countries, but I bet you he's one of the best presidents in the world. Why most fully independent countries rely on other countries for survival? Many Africans blaming Trump should ask themselves this question: why can't others come to our own country too? And I guess that's a question to ask ourselves whenever we are pointing a finger to a nation and telling them, why are you kicking us out of your nation? Why are others not going to your nation as well? So we can definitely see that there's a tension that is arising due to Trump's decision to deport back all those who were on TPS in Cameroonians and Afghanistans. But it's not only Cameroonians that are seeming to have an uproar with the decision. We have the CARE press release. Their CEO made this statement in an article they released, and quote unquote, he said, ending TPS for Afghans and Cameroonians is a cruel and dangerous escalation of the Trump administration's anti-immigrant agenda and a shameful betrayal of our moral and humanitarian obligations. These individuals have fled war, persecution, and instability, and in the case of many Afghans, risk their lives to support US operations. This decision will separate families and force people into the shadows. For some of them, TPS may be their only option for protection from deportation. It's yet another example of the Trump administration using immigration policy to target the most vulnerable among us. Decisions such as these deepen fear in our communities and erode trust in our government's commitment to protecting human rights. Further goes to say, TPS is a humanitarian program designed to protect individuals from being returned to countries that are considered unsafe due to circumstances such as armed conflict or natural disasters. The Biden administration initially extended protections for Afghans and Cameroonians in recognition of ongoing insecurity, destroyed infrastructure, displacement, and persistent violence in both countries. So many TPS holders face credible fears of persecution if forced to return to their home countries. However, asylum is notoriously difficult to obtain. Revoking TPS removes a critical layer of protection for those who may not be granted asylum. Without TPS status or other pending applications, individuals lose work authorization, which will significantly impact the individual and their families. The article further goes down to say that the CARE CA joins legal and human rights organizations in urging Congress and the courts to intervene and protect Afghan and Cameroon TPS recipients from unjust deportation. The organization also calls on community members to speak out and support legal advocacy to defend Afghans, Cameroonians, and others whose lives are now at risk. So with all we have read, seen, heard from Cameroonians, heard from the CARE press release, heard from Donald Trump himself, if I were to take a stand on this, I would say to a point I would somehow, I don't know about Afghanistan, so I don't know how the things are presently. You say you have to only be in the pot of soup to know how hot it is. I'm not in Afghanistan. I cannot tell whether it's safe enough to return to Afghanistan. But being in Cameroon, as a Cameroonian, is it safe to return to Cameroon? Not for everybody. Not for everybody. Definitely, Trump's decision is him overlooking, is him looking at the general states, what is being shown in the media, what the Cameroon media is telling everybody is that everything is fine, okay? We are finally stable. The Anglophone crisis, which I believe is what led most Cameroonians to flee out of Cameroon, is getting more balanced. Security is looking up. But is that actually the truth? So in the same way that we can look to Trump and be, oh, you're heartless, how can you send these people who came to your country for some sort of security, you're sending them back into the places where they're being persecuted? At the same time, your government is telling us that your country is now safe. Like, if you go back there, you're going to be safe. I honestly believe that if our government, if the news was more honest about how still very dangerous it is in the southwest and northwest regions of Cameroon, then maybe these deportations may be happening for Cameroonians. Like I said, I don't know about the Afghanistans, but for Cameroonians, there is still a life threat. Granted, there has been some sort of peace. I'll not say peace in a way, but less killings, less abductions. There are still killings happening. There are still abductions taking place day in, day out. We have reports of people dying left and right. So this is not being reported as much as it was when the crisis was still quite heated. So I guess that's the reason why you find the president Donald Trump will be like, I see that you have been here, we have kept you here, we have kept you secured for this amount of time, but reports are reaching us that it's now safer for you to return home. So we are going to be sending you back home. All 7,900 of you. That's quite a lot, actually. Tell me, all those people who went there were only for the Anglophone crisis happening. Quite possible, all right. But now he's saying, because of reports we are receiving from your country, it's time for you to go back home. And we have Cameroonians rioting and be like, oh, why are you sending us back home? It's not still safe. But your media is telling us it's safe. So is it an issue of biased coverage on our medias on site, not making people understand how still insecure this is? And with the coming elections, everyone knows. I think there's something we are trying to pretend like it's not actually true. With the coming elections going to happen, I am worried for the northwest and southwest region of Cameroon. I'm actually very worried for everybody that I might know there. I myself am from there, although now not living necessarily in the region itself, but there is a genuine worry, especially with the coming elections and with the entire political issues related to it. As a Cameroonian, you know what I'm talking about. So when our media is trying to say everything is fine, everything is okay, because the 80% of the country is practically not facing the same persecution, but there's this 20% that actually still faces a great persecution, and even now is at more risk with the coming elections. These people might have a reason of not wanting to come back home, but they don't have enough evidence to back their claims, because the country is saying it's fine. Everything we are telling is that it's fine, and we can be grateful for how much things have dialed down, and there are less killings and less abductions, like I said. But at the same time, there is a possibility of risk increasing. There is still a present risk that is available, and it's up to the government of America, the president, to decide whether this is risk enough to keep the Cameroonians still in the country. You see, these people didn't go there to move there forever, and that's the truth about it. We might say it's terrible, it's everything, yeah, but as a Cameroonian, same from Cameroon perspective, for the government of America to be like, we are going to keep Cameroonians in the country, at least the government of Cameroon should show them enough reason why they should stay there. If the government is telling them our country is fine, then obviously they're going to be, okay, that's great. So now we can send back these people to Cameroon. And that's just the issue at hand. And many people hate on Trump for his immigration policies, for how he has implemented immigration policies. They always say he is anti-immigrant, he's against the immigrants. But I think a lot of times he has made it clear that he's not against immigration, he's against illegal immigration. Because these people are legally allowed to be in America for this time period under the grounds of the TPS. There are people who have been legally allowed to be in America for a while, and there are people who have not been legally allowed. So when he has come up to say all these people that are illegally present in this country, we are going to send them out. And now he's saying that these people that were here legally, we are finding that the grounds that kept you here legally have expired. Your country is showing us that you actually have you can now return to your country because it's safer, so we are going to send you back home. And they're looking at them and being, oh, you're a hater. It's just for us Cameroonians, for our government to show these people, if they want them to stay there, if they are trying to bash Donald Trump for sending these people back, then tell them that we are not actually ready for these people to return back home. Tell them that the North and South region are still suffering. Tell them that we still need that protection. We still have insecurities within the country. So until that can be proven, I don't think anybody can really blame Donald Trump for his decision when it concerns Cameroonians. Like I said, I don't know about the Afghanistans. That would be on their stance, more Afghans should wake up and say what's happening in their country. But as a Cameroonian, I will put the blame back on how our media has presented our issues. We are grateful for the increase that the change in security, but still there is still insecurity happening. The people still have real fear of coming back. They are being seriously traumatized, and they have not still seen the country's present state as safe enough for them to return. But our media is saying different. Demeanor is saying different. With the coming elections, I believe we're trying to present a good summer image, which actually is more of an insecurity issue for the northwest and southwest inhabitants. But with all that said, I don't believe there'll be so much of a change in Donald Trump's mind. Maybe the Congress or whoever is going to speak to him might change his mind and stop the deportation. But on our own side, I don't believe our press is going to change concerning their image they are selling out of Cameroon. Food, they're saying everything is squeaky clean. No, they can come back. Actually, that's the image I give it. Even though they are saying why is sending them back, they are giving an image of it's okay for them to come back. And I guess that's the somehow clash in interest that is happening. But I would like to know how you feel as a Cameroonian, maybe also as an Afghanistan. Do you believe it is right that they send back these people? Do you believe your country is safe enough? As a Cameroonian, do you believe Cameroon is safe enough for this post return? Do you believe maybe this part is taking advantage of the fact that the crisis led them out of the country and they don't want to come back? Or do you think Trump is being selfish and being somehow inhumane in his decision to send back these Cameroonians? So drop down your comments down in the comment section. Let's continue the discussion. But before you go, make sure to like and subscribe to the Next Generation Media channel so you don't get to miss out on our subsequent videos. Bye.